Okay, blacksuperhero.com. It basically originated from a class project, I would say. In 93, 94, I was in college, just about to graduate, but I had a class project, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was definitely a poster design. For my poster at the time, I was reading, at the time, Milestone books, pretty much anything I get my hands on with black superheroes in it. And I had a nice collection going. And for my class project, I did a poster, and it was something like The Color of Superheroes or Black Superheroes. I remember the title, and then it was like an article on black superheroes. And it was actually designed as a, not poster, but as a magazine spread. So it had an article, it had images of, like, say, Icon and Hardware and these guys. Just a splash of superheroes all over it. And I remember turning in that class project, and it was just kind of the start of that whole process where I was looking at these characters and a collage of them. And up to that time, there really wasn't, but I was surprised at how many I could actually get into that poster because of Milestone books and other stuff that was out there at the time. You had a lot of independent artists right there too doing their books. So I had all that stuff. I had Brother Man, I had Milestone in my collection. So I put them on that poster. And I think that was the first seed of blacksuperhero.com. When I got out of school, of course, I went into graphic design. I was in there for about 2 years. In 97 is when I founded the site. And it was pretty much just starting as a hobby. I said, okay, I need to learn web design. It's just part of something that I need to get a handle on. So let me do a site that there's no pressure. It's just for fun. It's just this. What am I going to do? Thought back to the poster and all my collection. I said, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to document some of these guys. I'm going to write down who created it, what year, and just kind of scratch the surface, but try to collect them all into one place. With the web and the access that was really starting to pick up at that time, I was like, hey, it'd be nice to be able to go to one place and just see these guys. And at that time, I had no idea that it wasn't something that I said, well, I'll be the first at this or something like that. It was just, at the time, it was right. Everything kind of went that way. And you know how these things work sometimes, like you're not even in control of it. It's just time. You do it. Before you know it, it catches on. So that's where it started at.
Um, talk, how many, just give us some sense of how it's grown. Like, just a ballpark of how many superheroes you had on there now versus, then versus now.
Yeah.
Message boards, this, that. So how has it grown? How has it different?
Well, I know right now there's just fewer than 600 members in the forum right now. Now, these are members that are signed up and pretty much, I'm not going to say every member's active, but that's how many accounts that I have that are legitimate accounts. How it's grown was, you had a core group of guys that were kind of into it, kind of from the fringes. But you didn't see, I guess, so many people now being exposed to this thing where, it's a much more diverse group of people on there now. I just say that they're doing a bigger variety of things. In the beginning, I was putting out information. People would come say, hey, that's cool. But I didn't have as many. What's carrying us now is that there's creators actually coming in and they're logged in, they're registered, and they're out there doing fascinating things. And what that does is it inspires the next guy to either go out and, hey, that idea I had in the back of my head, let me go ahead and work on that. I can do it because this guy's done it. And for me, it even happened because, I never judge people's work, never judge it. Because even in my own work, it's like I can do something and that day it looks great. And the next day I come back and look at it, I'm like, what was I thinking? You know what I mean? So as an artist, you're always struggling with that kind of thing, but try not to judge people's work. So I would see people come in and some of their stuff looks like, this guy's in grade school. You might get a guy that comes in like that, but I wouldn't judge that person. I'd say, hey, you're doing something good, man. You're creating something that you feel. So I would see that same guy a year later, 2 years later. Stuff is starting to take hold here. And then it's like, oh, he's advancing, his art is advancing. Next thing you know, he's coming out with a book and you're going, you see that seed and you see it from the beginning to that stage and you go, well, you know what? I can do this too. And I think so there's that kind of thing. So as far as counting the growth, it's hard to say how many characters. There's always characters out there that I haven't even cataloged. So I would say probably 4 or 5 years ago, I actually made the site where basically you go on and you punch in some stuff and throw an image up there, throw some text on the character. Hopefully the site, it would grow like that. I get a lot of spam mail and things like that so I'm always constantly deleting stuff that doesn't really apply. So I'm pretty picky at what I actually post and what doesn't get up there. But it's just one of those things that definitely has taken off, way bigger than it was.
Look, can you talk about blacksuperhero.com as a community? You know what I mean? Like it's more than a website.
Oh yeah.
Can you talk about the blacksuperhero.com and as a community?
Black Superhero, I would .com is a very well. It's two things people might not know. It's blacksuperhero.com, which is a main website, which is getting an overhaul this year, 2010. Probably by the summer, I'm going to have that totally done. Just a lot more fresher content on that. But that's the main site. But under that site, there's a forum called Hero Talk. Hero Talk's been there probably for 3 or 4 years. I'm not exactly sure the founding. I would say about 2006, so 3, 4 years, yeah. And that is the forum, and community definitely has grown. Like I said, just under 600 members right now. But as a community, it's really creator based. I mean, you have your lurkers, people that just come by, skim the surface, and kind of see, hey, what are these guys creating? But then you have those people that are actually in there and they're networking, working on different projects in a variety of media. And I've gotten it now to, as far as community, we're not just talking, I mean, you got people on there debating politics, which is sometimes a no-no, religion. It's all there. So as a community, you have all that. You have your arguments, you have your flaming of people, and you have your banning of people and this and that. But that being said, I mean, it's a great community. I think it's a great place where, people are inspired and they're working very close. There's a lot of trade secrets that are exchanged. There's a lot of just, hey man, keep working, man. I like what you're doing. Because, as an artist, one thing that makes a person an artist is probably when you were 8, 9 years old and you drew that first character of Kick Butt Man or whatever, your mom said, wow, look at that. That's great. And she posted up on the wall or the refrigerator or whatever. And maybe that said, hey, man, I can do this. Now, turn that around, you have a guy that does the same exact art, and his parents just, don't really pay attention. They give it up, and they go somewhere else. So I think it's used as a springboard. When you can exchange ideas and thoughts and art and just be inspired by that, that's where you get that sense of community. Because I know my project, I'm working on a book right now, and it wouldn't have seen the light of day without advice from people on the site. Just basic inspiration that I drew from the site. So I think it's a very good and it's a creator-based community.
Okay.
Yeah.